it's Dawn here and welcome to my channel. If you've just stopped by for the first time, you're very welcome. And if you're used to seeing this channel and you visited me before, you're also very welcome. And today we're going to be continuing with our series of mixing with our watercolour pencils. And today, rather than making two colours to make a third colour, just like yesterday, we're going to use it to create an effect. And we're going to use two colours, just two pencils, to create a skin tone. Now I know in some of your pencil sets you might have some wonderful skin tones, but there are some that perhaps don't have so many. But we can mix them, and we're going to start, we're going to do, the reason I've done two outlines is because we're going to do two tones of skin. Quite simply, we're just going to do it from here, and we're going to start with a burnt sienna. Let's just make sure I've got the right one. Yes, brilliant. So we're going, for this one, we're going to do a very light shading of burnt sienna, not too heavy at all. And we're just going to follow this round. We're not going to do a portrait because that would take far too long. I'd have to do that one in stages. But this is just to show how you would create a skin tone. So shade it fairly evenly, but not too hard, not too heavy, not to begin with anyway. And then we're going to pop this down and we're going to take our white. This is just an ordinary white that every pencil set has got. Regardless of what brand you use, you will always have a white. And for this one, we're going to shade our white quite a bit heavier over the top. Now I know it doesn't really look like skin now, but once we mix it with our water, which we will in just a second, hopefully it will. So, let's see. Here we go. Let's just pop some water on our brush and blend it like that. And we get a nice tanned looking skin tone, just like that. So, that's not bad actually. That's more or less the effect I was looking for. So I'm quite happy with that one. And we're going to leave it there. We're not going to take it any further. We're not going to worry about putting features in. Not in this demonstration anyway. Maybe another time, but not today. But if you wanted to, that's a sort of European skin tone really. But if you were going to paint someone who had a darker skin tone, but you don't have to do this with portraits even, you can just use it if you're going to, for example, put people in your landscapes just to add some life. But you might want someone who's got perhaps a Caribbean complexion, or a darker skin tone. And of course there are others, there are Asian skin tones, and if you're going to paint someone with an Asian skin tone, you just add a little bit of yellow in it. So we won't do that today, but if you're going to do that, you just use your burnt sienna, use it lighter, but instead of using white, you'd use a yellow, just to create the skin tone. But this we're going to assume is a darker person, or a person with a darker skin I should say, I do beg your pardon. And we're going to shade this on a little stronger. And if it was someone with a very dark skin, for example, perhaps someone from Africa, you wouldn't use any white at all. You just use your burnt sienna and go straight on with water. But again, we won't do that today. If we tried to do every skin tone that was around, we'd be here forever. Very interesting. You might want to try that yourself one day. But we're going to do just our burnt sienna and use not quite so much white, just a little bit of white. And we'll see the two different skin tones, the comparisons. That's why I've done them side by side and not on different pieces of watercolour paper. Any type of watercolour paper will do. And I will link all of this in the description down below when we're done, so that you won't have to remember all of this. I shall link it, including the other tips for adding yellow for Asian skin tones. So I shall link this all in, you don't have to remember it. So, oh, that's a little bit too much water. Let's just dab it off a bit. And so we're going to just blend it. So as you can see, this is creating a darker skin tone. So if you're painting a skin tone from someone who is naturally dark skinned, well, that's absolutely fine, then that's how you do it. And you can just keep on adjusting that according to the skin tone that you want. Obviously if they're darker, you add more brown. But whatever you do, when you're doing a skin tone, don't paint it with a black. Don't add a black pencil because that will just deaden it. And it won't look very natural. So there we go. There is our two tones of skin, a more European and perhaps a more Caribbean. So I hope that you found that useful and that you have a go at painting skin tones yourself, even if it's only to put people or life into your seascapes or landscapes. And of course you'll for your portraits if you're clever and brave enough to have a go at portraits. Perhaps we'll do that in another demonstration. And so I hope you've enjoyed this and found it useful. And if you pop back tomorrow, we will be painting shadows from a paper palette, again with our watercolour pencils. So do pop back then, and I'll see you soon. And in the meantime, have fun with your paintings and have a great day. Bye bye for now.